You think quitting is a choice, but it isn't. It's a message. Every time you quit, you're telling yourself something you don't want to admit. That your word doesn't mean much. That your feelings matter more than your future. That temporary discomfort is too expensive, even if it costs you everything long term. And the worst part? That message doesn't stop echoing. You feel it in your silence. You feel it when no one's watching. You feel it every time you say, "I'll do it tomorrow." But tomorrow comes, and you're still hiding. And that hiding becomes identity. Not all at once, but piece by piece. Because quitting doesn't always look like giving up. Sometimes it looks like delay. Sometimes it looks like half-effort. Sometimes it wears a mask that says, "I'll try again later." But deep down, you know that's a lie. You're not waiting. You're escaping. And with every escape, you lose something. Not just time, not just progress. You lose belief. Discipline is self-respect in action. It's keeping your promises to yourself, even when no one else would blame you for breaking them. It's staying in the fire because you'd rather burn than be ruled by the part of you that always walks away. When you quit, you don't just lose the result. You lose a version of you that could have been. And every version you abandon dies with its potential intact. Never seen, never realized, buried under a pile of excuses you stopped questioning. You don't just quit on goals. You quit on who you said you'd be, and that's what haunts you later. Not the job, not the workout, not the opportunity, but the voice in the mirror that asks, "Why did you give up on me?" That's the weight you carry, and it's heavier than the work would have been. But it's not too late, because the truth is this: the same voice that quit can become the one that returns, that rebuilds, that rises. You don't need hype. You don't need inspiration. You need one decision. I don't quit anymore. No matter the delay, no matter the detour, no matter the damage already done. You draw the line, right here, right now. Because quitting isn't just a behavior, it's a habit. But so is showing up. And every time you stay, when it's easier to leave, when it's harder to believe, when you've got nothing left but breath, you earn something no one can give you: yourself. You think breaking happens loud. You imagine collapse as dramatic, as screaming, crying, falling apart. But most people, they break quietly. No noise, no scene, just small decisions made in private, until nothing's left. They don't announce their downfall. They just start sleeping in. They stop keeping promises. They skip the hard things and say, "I'm just being kind to myself." But deep down, they know the difference. You don't break in one moment. You erode in silence, by making deals with the weaker part of you. "I'll just do it tomorrow. I've earned this rest. No one will notice. And maybe they won't, but you will. Because when you lie to yourself, something inside of you hears it, something records it, and something begins to fade. That something? Your self-respect. You don't lose respect from others first. You lose it from yourself. In tiny cracks, saying you'll do something, then not. Setting goals, then ghosting them. Promising change and repeating the past. Every one of those fractures adds up, until you wake up one day and don't trust yourself anymore. Not in the big things, not in the small things, not at all. You hesitate, you delay, you question every move, because your identity is no longer grounded in action, it's drowning in doubt. But here's the truth: you weren't born broken. You just stopped defending your edge, and now you want it back. Good, because getting it back doesn't take motivation. It takes war, against your comforts, against your soft excuses, against your own patterns. Discipline is the sword. Silence is the forge. You rebuild your self-respect by doing things no one will clap for, showing up on days no one's watching, holding the line when no one's there to hold you up. That's the real you, the one forged in self-trust, not applause. And when that person starts rising again, you feel it. You feel sharper, quieter, more still, because you don't need noise anymore. You just need the work. No more false starts, no more promises made in adrenaline and broken in emotion. Just movement, just discipline, just proof. And with every step you keep, with every promise you honor, you start to earn that old version of you back. The one who didn't beg for permission to move, because real confidence doesn't come from hype. It comes from keeping your word in rooms no one will ever see. You thought you'd see it coming. The collapse, the moment where everything breaks. But that's not how it happens. Collapse isn't one explosion, it's erosion. Tiny, invisible. It happens when you stop noticing the pieces falling off, because you've already accepted they don't matter anymore. You don't wake up one day empty. You leak, bit by bit. When you snooze the alarm, when you say, just this once, when you skip the hard things and call it balance. You don't even call it quitting at first. You call it adjusting, pacing, mental health. But deep down, you know. You feel it. You feel the weight of everything you were supposed to be, slowly drifting from who you are. That's how people vanish. Not physically, spiritually, mentally. From themselves. You're not just walking away from a goal, you're drifting away from the version of you who would have finished. And with every delay, every excuse, you feed the weaker voice. That voice doesn't scream, it whispers. You're tired. It's not the right time. You can always come back to it. But here's the truth. You rarely come back. Because quitting rewires your identity, and the more often you do it, the more natural it feels. Until finishing becomes the foreign thing, and quitting becomes who you are. And no, you're not lazy. You're not broken. You're just losing a war you never learned how to fight. Because this isn't about motivation. It's not about being productive. It's about ownership. Do you own your actions, or do your impulses own you? That's the real question. Because every time you abandon a goal, you don't just start over. You start from further behind. Not just in effort, but in belief. You have to rebuild trust in the one person who can't lie to you. And that's the deepest damage quitting does. Not to your plans, but to your relationship with yourself. You stop believing you'll follow through. You stop even setting goals because you're already afraid of letting yourself down. And that's when collapse is complete. When you stop fighting for the person you're supposed to become and settle into the one the world will accept. The safe one, the small one, the shadow. But even there, in the numbness, you feel it, that flicker, that ache, that inner pull saying, this isn't who I am. It's your future, tugging at your spine, begging you to wake up before the real you disappears forever. Because quitting doesn't just delay a goal. It destroys the bond between who you are and who you were born to become. You want to know the difference between the one who transforms and the one who fades into the background? It's not strength. It's not knowledge. It's not some talent they were born with. It's this. They refuse to stop. They don't finish because it's easy. They finish because quitting costs too much. Not money, not time, but identity. Because every time you quit, you don't just walk away from the work. You walk away from yourself, from the version of you who keeps going, from the person you promised you'd become, from the path you said you'd honor. And sure, quitting feels harmless at first. It even feels good, a rush of relief. But wait long enough, and that relief turns to regret. Not just over what you didn't do, but over who you didn't become. You don't notice it all at once. You feel it in the little things. You hesitate more. You trust yourself less. You start negotiating with your own weakness. You used to move with intention. Now you move with excuses. You used to push. Now you pause. You used to be the one who showed up regardless. Now you wait for the perfect time, and it never comes. That's what quitting does. Not all at once, but slowly it hollows you out. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your life saying, I could have, instead of, I did. But not you, not this time, because now you know what's at stake. Every time you finish something hard, you build weight behind your words. Every time you hold the line, you build armor that no failure can penetrate. And you stop needing motivation, because now you move with identity. You finish because that's who you are now. The kind of person who shows up even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. The kind of person who doesn't run from the storm, but becomes it. No matter how long it takes, no matter who doubts you, no matter how loud the voice is that says, just let go. You don't. Because if you let go of this, you let go of everything. So even if you're crawling, even if it's quiet, even if it's ugly, you finish. Not for applause, not for validation, not even for the outcome. You finish because you said you would, and that means something now. So when your body says stop, when your mind screams enough, when no one is there to clap or care, finish anyway, because if you quit, you don't just lose a goal. You lose you, and you've fought too long to go missing now.